Salute. Welcome back to Movie Talk. We back in the building. I am your host, Rick. Follow me on Instagram at Rick_BHR. If you got a particular movie you want me to review on the show, feel free to hit themovietalkpod at gmail.com. Reach out to me there, and I'll bring it to the platform. I do want to grow this, so I always ask y'all to hit me up. You know what I'm saying? If I ever do a movie you haven't seen, check it out. Hit me up, man. Drop a comment or something. Hit the like button. Do all that, man. Just show support so we could grow this thing. We got a classic today, man. We got a classic today. And it's funny because when I pulled up the IMDb of this, today we're going to do Fresh, which is a classic. But when I pulled up the IMDb, Fresh from 2022 came up, some horror movie. I don't know what that is, but I might check it out tonight just to compare the Freshes. See which Fresh is better, 1994 or 2022. Of course, I'm going to go with 1994. The 2022 one said it was a horror thriller. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the real Fresh. You know what I'm saying? 1994, I was 10 years old when this movie came out. Like I said, it's a classic. It's one of the movies that no matter where I catch it on at, I watch it. And I like movies like that. You know what I'm saying? Those movies where no matter, it could be a minute and 30 seconds left in the movie, you're going to watch that. Casino, Goodfellas, The Fugitive 1 and 2, Friday, Sicario, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, Juice, man, those just a few just off the head, not even have this written down. You know what I'm saying? That might be a topic on a future show. That's just off the head what I came up with. No matter where I see them, I could be scrolling through the channels. I don't care if it's 35 seconds left in the Goodfellas. I'm watching it. You know what I'm saying? It could be 13.2 seconds left in Casino. I'm gonna finish it out. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know a movie good, But yeah, man, so we're gonna get into Fresh. It says this came out August 24th, 1994. Wow. It's crazy. That was a long time ago, man. Long time ago. Let's get into the overview of this movie. It says Fresh is a 12-year-old drug dealer who finds himself trapped in the web of poverty, corruption, and racial tension in Brooklyn, New York. When his drug addict sister, Nicole, starts sleeping with local drug lord Estevan, Fresh calls upon the skills he learned playing chess with his alcoholic father and speed champion, Sam, and devises a complex strategy that will free both himself and his sisters. Now, this movie was based in New York. I did a previous episode where I was explaining how old New York. This is a prime example of what I mean by old New York. So if you watch this movie, you'll see old New York, not new New York, not what New York looks like now. Old New York. This is 1994. Okay, so this is prime. You know what I'm saying? Crack epidemic and things like that. It was real. It was real rough and grimy at that time. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to gentrify all those type of places nowadays. But they're still around. You know what I'm saying? But this is at the prime time of that, right? So you got this kid, he's 12 years old. If I'm not mistaken, I think he lives with his aunt. I think that was his aunt that he lived with. And in the projects, small apartment, probably a 2-bedroom, 3 at most, but they only show his room. But the apartment was small. Matter of fact, they did show. I'm assuming it was a 3-bedroom. Because I remember there was a scene where he went into his sister's bedroom while she was packing. His older sister, she was leaving, and she was packing. So you got his room, that room, and I'm sure the aunt had her own room. But there was a lot of kids there, right? There was a lot of kids there. I can't think offhand how many kids lived in there, but, you know, it's your typical hood story. You know what I'm saying? You know, in that time frame when drugs was really, really running rampant, a lot of kids stayed with grandparents, stayed with aunts and, you know, other family members. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, everybody just piled up in the house. You know what I'm saying? As long as you could fit inside them front doors, you got a space. You got a place. You know what I'm saying? Whether you sleeping on the couch, on the floor, on the refrigerator, on the stove, as long as you can fit inside the house back then, you was good, you know? So there was a lot of kids that lived there. Now, Fresh to me was a smart kid, you know what I'm saying? And I think that, you know, he was just a product of his environment. You know what I'm saying? I think he was just a product of his environment. He was just going through the motions and, you know, basically playing with the cards he was dealt. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, they don't show his mom, at least not that I remember. And like I said, the lady that he lived with, I'm assuming that was his aunt. You know what I'm saying? Because she didn't act like a mother. He didn't act like a son towards her. Now, Fresh, he was in the streets. You know what I'm saying? But he was just doing local little runs. You know what I mean? He was running and selling and whatever the case. Like they said, he was 12 years old. He was a young kid. He had a little crew. You know what I'm saying? But he was the only one out the crew that was really hustling. You know, his other friends, they weren't into that. You know what I'm saying? And that just goes to show you how much of a kid he was at the time. You know, unfortunately, he just had to sell and, you know, try to do things that his friends wasn't doing. You know what I'm saying? He had one friend, Chucky. You know, Chucky was a little kid. His man, you know, he tried to put him on, but he ended up, you know, being not like Fresh. You know what I'm saying? Chucky was a loudmouth kid, telling people what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? Fresh was real low key. Just, I'm doing this for a purpose. You know what I'm saying? He had a purpose. Even in watching the movie, you'll see that Fresh, he would sell his little thing or run his little packs, get whatever money he was getting, and then he would go and he had a stash like on a train track somewhere in a little hole. He had a stash of money, and he would always go there and stash his money. You know what I'm saying? So he was a 12-year-old with a vision and a plan. You know what I'm saying? So his man Chucky was complete opposite, loud, just, you know, doing it to try and be cool, trying to be down. You know what I'm saying? You could tell Fresh didn't want to do it, but he did it because he didn't have no other choice. You know, he had an older sister that didn't show no love to him. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, she packed up, left the house. They didn't have a mother around, and his father was a drunk chess player. You know, now that relationship is kind of crazy because his father lived somewhere in some old ran down trailer. And, you know, he will meet his father when he goes to the park and play chess with him. And his father will give him jewels. You know what I'm saying? So it was like he was raising him from afar. You understand? Teaching him how to be smart, think. You know what I'm saying? Teaching him how to handle his emotions and things like that. You know what I'm saying? But Fresh, you know, he didn't want to do what he was, like I said, he didn't want to do the things he was doing. He was just forced to do the things he was doing. This is Brooklyn, it's the 90s. Things was happening. You know, there was a scene where, you know, people that Fresh was kind of working for, the older guys that was playing basketball, one of Fresh's kids from his class or his grade, one of his friends, he was super nice in basketball. You know what I'm saying? So he was busting the other dude up, getting him. Dude pulled out the gun, shot him. You know what I'm saying? Right there. Shot him. Right? Broad daylight. This kid was 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? And then he hit a girl as well. So he killed the kid and the girl. Now, Fresh is seeing all this. He's 12 years old. You understand? Now, mind you, this is the person that he be around. Damn, you just killed, you know, my friend. You just killed the girl I like. And she just happened to be walking over to talk to Fresh at the time type of situation. Hit with a stray. You know? So you're seeing all of these things and, you know, he's just trying to navigate. You know, he got school. He got his dad. He's trying to keep his sister in the house because she's left. You know what I'm saying? She's, like I said, she's running around with the drug dealer, and he was kind of dealing with two rival drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? His sister was over here, and Fresh worked over here. You know, so Fresh, you know, what my interpretation of it is, he uses the lessons that was taught from his father to play chess against these older people. You understand what I'm saying? So in his mind, damn, my sister's gone. This guy got my sister addicted to drugs. She's over there. I need my sister back. I don't want to sell this stuff. So I need to devise a plan to basically get me and my sister out of this situation and have some money to possibly, you know, take us somewhere or get us out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, his whole thing is like, I want my sister back. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's like the only person that he genuinely, you know what I'm saying, was comfortable with. Like, that's probably the closest person to him. Because, like I said, his father lived like in just some old trailer in the side of the street somewhere, and he's a drunk. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do shit. He just played chess all day. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like he felt like, you know what, I gotta free my sister. But like I said, taking the lessons that he learned and the jewels that he learned from his pops while they played chess, he was able to play chess with grown adults. You understand? Because what he did was he turned the two crews against each other. You understand? He basically started a war between the two crews. So the same dude that killed his friend and the girl he liked, he ended up having his boss kill him by setting him up. You understand what I'm saying? So he played mind games with the boss, right? Made it look like he was trying to take the boss out, stealing money and all these type of things, right? Boom. Then he had the same boss go against the other boss who was dealing with his sister. He didn't like that because, again, she was hooked. She wouldn't leave this man. Hey, I want my sister back. So now I'm going to let the two crews go together, go at each other. They have a war, shootouts, and things like that, right? Then, after that situation happened, it's like after one of the bosses after the boss that was messing with his sister takes out the other boss that he worked for, right? Now I got to take you out so I can have my sister back. You understand? And again, he sets him up. Plants drugs in the room. Gun. A bunch of drugs. You know what I'm saying? And it goes down like that. So really, Fresh, a 12-year-old kid, took out two drug crews in this movie. You know what I'm saying? And I like to equate that with he was able to do that by outsmarting them. You know what I'm saying? And using the tactics that he got from just learning lessons from his pops. Now, did his pops raise him? You know what I'm saying? Like, because that could be considered raising. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's learning valuable lessons from his father. Even though his father is an alcoholic, even though his father's not in his life, he's just there. But he's learning valuable lessons. You know, and I'm the type of person like, listen, man, a lesson could come from anybody. You know what I'm saying? Just because you got more than a person don't mean you can't learn from a person. You know what I'm saying? Just because a person may be down right now, that don't mean you should look down upon that person. That don't mean you can't learn from that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, Fresh father didn't have much to offer him, but he had a lifetime of wisdom to offer him, a lifetime of jewels to offer him. You know what I'm saying? He took out two grown-ass adults that had drug empires. One kid. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's just like kind of an overall of the movie. Like I said, this came out in 1994. You know what I'm saying? And the purpose of this podcast is to bring y'all these type of movies that you might not never heard of or that you might not never seen, or, you know, it's just classical movies, man. Like, this movie, it's a lot of gems in this movie, you know. And if you are of a certain age and you don't know or are unfamiliar or never been, it's a good representation of what New York was like in that era, you know, because when that crack epidemic hit, it hit hard. It hit hard. And like I said, I'm not even touching on everything that happened in the movie. It was so many different scenes that happened in the movie, like when Chucky, his friend, got killed, and different little things Fresh was doing, where you could kind of tell this kid is smart, man, but this kid is just doing this like he has an end goal. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's not one of them kids that was just out there just to be out there. Like, no, I'm doing this for a purpose. I'm doing this for end goal. You know what I'm saying? And it's definitely, man, it's definitely worth watching. Popcorns. All right. Now, from now on, I'm going to be rating these movies that I come and review. I'm going to give them buckets of popcorn. Right. Who knows? I might change it in the future, but right now it's buckets of popcorn. We're going to do 1 through 5, and I'm giving this. Man, I'm going to give it 4 buckets of popcorn. I'm going to give Fresh 4 buckets of popcorn. Next episode, I'm going to break down the buckets from 1 through 5. I'm going to tell you what it is. So, if I say 2 buckets, that's this. 3 buckets, that's this. 2.5 is this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to break it down. So, right now, Fresh got 4 buckets of popcorn. You know what I'm saying? Definitely worth watching. It's up there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's gonna do it for today, man. Just wanted to come in here, chop it up with y'all about Fresh. That's the movie this week. Like I said, I'm not a critic. I'm just a movie head, man. I'm holla.